I'm Barbara Tharp. Today we're going to look at Water Anybody. It's the sixth activity in the My World Teacher's Guide for Water. The objectives are all aligned to the National Science Education Standards. And the objective for this lesson specifically is for students to explore the water lost in their body by making predictions, measuring, recording, making observations, and drawing conclusions based on their investigation. The concepts that we're looking at are water is essential for survival, and that our bodies take in and release balanced amounts of water each and every day under normal circumstances. Materials. We need beakers. We need a couple of large 1,000 milliliter beakers, at least one small 250 milliliter beaker, and preferably a 200 milliliter beaker, a large one, and a dish tub that will hold at least 3 liters of water. Again, think about safety. Review safety guidelines before you begin. It's really important when you're working with water that you make sure that any spills are cleaned up immediately so you don't have some kind of an accident in the classroom. So what are we looking at? Water cycling through the body. The body is 70% water. So how much water does a human body need every day? Would you believe at least 3,000 milliliters or 3 liters a day? And why would that be? The average human loses about that much each day. And how do they lose it? Let's investigate. What happens to the water in our bodies and where does it go? To begin with, as I said, I have 300 milliliters of water in my dish tub. This is the amount that we usually take in, the normal average person takes in a day. Now, how does it get out of your body? Let's look at that. To begin with, we lose at least 150 milliliters, 600 milliliters, 1,500 milliliters, and 750 milliliters in different ways. And I want you to think about how that might be. To begin with, 150 milliliters, I'm going to measure that out for you, and that's going to be, I want you to think about what way would you lose 150 milliliters of water a day? And what way would you lose 600 milliliters of water a day? You would have the students measure out these amounts. Students need to do a lot of practice measuring. This is a good way to let them have some practice measuring while they're thinking about, well, how, if I'm losing water 4 major ways, what would those ways be? We lose 750 milliliters in another way each day. And I know what you're all thinking, and what they're all thinking is, well, it's just going to be mainly from urine. And that is going to be a big part of it. But as we look at it, we have 750 right here, and then we still have more water in the tub. That's going to make up the last amount, which is going to be 1,500 milliliters. Okay, can we agree to begin with the 1,500 milliliters? Pretty much everybody would agree. And they'd even agree more if I colored it yellow. But this would be the urine that we lose each day. But how about breathing? How about breathing? If you've ever held a mirror up to your face when you're talking, you sometimes can see the moisture coming out. Well, that moisture, that's the vapor when what we lose with vapor when we breathe. So we lose that much about a day just from breathing. Over here, we perspire. We all perspire. And just without even going out and running or anything, you're going to lose at least 750 milliliters perspiring, which leaves us a little bit left. And what would that be? That has to do with water elimination in feces, okay, from the intestines. And that's when the kids all go, yuck, okay, whatever. But if you want to color it brown, they'll guess a lot quicker which one that is. But this is basically the amount of water everybody loses, every adult person would lose in a day. Now, how do we get it back? That's the next question. How do we get that water back? Because we have how much left? Actually, nothing. It's all gone. And if no water entered our body again, could we live? We would dehydrate, and you can dehydrate and you can actually die in 3 or 4 days quite often if you don't have any water. So how is it replaced? I want you to ask the students to think about ways they replace the water in their body. They can work in teams, come up with ideas, come up with a plan for how might you return that water to your body. Obviously, one of the first things they're going to say is by drinking water. And they drink about this much. So they drink about 1,500 milliliters of water a day, so we'll put that back in there. That's how much they drink. And then they get about 1,200 milliliters from food. So where can we get 1,200? We've got about 750, 9, and we need 300 more. And that's about how much we get from food. And then the rest comes from inside our body as we respire, as the body, inside the body is energy from food that's released. So inside the body, there's at least 300 milliliters produced a day. So that finished it off. So basically, we had 3,000 milliliters out, or 3 liters, and 3,000 milliliters in. So let's think about it. Let's recap. What happened with water in our bodies? Number one, all life depends on water. Without water, we would have no cellular functions happening. Kidneys in higher vertebrates are very efficient at using water, and quite often we absorb much of the water that is cycled through our body. The body also reabsorbs water in digestion, but the average person still loses at least 3 liters a day, and it must be replaced. What are some extensions you could do with this activity? Making sure that students understand the water going in and the water coming out, and the importance of that water. Think about some of the animals that, like for instance in the desert, that don't have a place to go drink water every day. And think about the adaptations. This is a good place to bring that in as well. And with the adaptations, you think about some animals very rarely, especially in the desert, even drink water. They depend on the chemical breakdown in their body for their food breakdown for water. Many of them obviously are not going to get out in the daytime in the hot desert, so they don't need as much water because they're only active at night. And another thing is they have extremely concentrated urine and dry feces. These are all ways that desert-dwelling animals can live without as much water. Doesn't work for the human. Now, what about special strategies that aquatic animals use to actually tackle the opposite problem, which is too much water? How do they deal with that? This is something that you might want to ask the students to research. Hope you enjoyed the activity. Thank you.